Hi folks, good morning.
Good morning, Sekhar.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Very good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, God.
Yeah, good morning guys. A very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to my demo session of Spring Boot and Microservices. Hope you are all doing good. And now let's continue. In the today's demo session, I would like to explain about, first of all, about me and about the prerequisites for this particular session. And what are all the major topics, the course content that you can download from our Ashok IT website, but the major topics that I would like to tell you about how we are going to cover and what we are going to discuss in our sessions, that are all will be discussed in the today's demo session part. Okay, I'm sure that you are going to enjoy the session. And now let's continue, guys. Once again, thanks for joining this session. And everyone, just please keep, you are in mute so that it won't make any disturbance for me and even for the other colleagues. Right, guys, let's move on. So as the session is concerned, guys, we are going to look at into Spring Boot and microservices. As you are aware that Spring Boot with cloud and microservices.
Hi, Sekhar, your voice is breaking.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
just a minute. I think it may be from my end, some kind of disturbance. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute, guys. I'll reconnect. I will just change my mic. Just a minute. Is it okay right now? Currently?
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you, Sekhar.
Yeah. Good, guys. Yeah, guys. Let's move on. Nowadays, almost 99% of the real-time applications that you are going to work on already, you are working with. So these are all Spring Boot and microservices applications.
Again, voice issue. I think there is an issue in microphone, right?
Maybe I think just a minute. No issue. I will just connect with the other. Yeah, guys, I think now it's somewhat more clear for you, I'm expecting.
Yes. Now it's clear. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. So let's move on, guys. What I would like to tell you is that in this session, nowadays, you are all going to work with the Spring Boot and microservices. It's really very fantastic and fabulous for creating the real-time projects. And let's talk about a little bit on my part. See, I'm going to be the trainer and my name is Sekhar. And I've been into this Java industry from 15 years. My experience is 15 plus. I have overall 15 plus years of experience. And coming to this session, guys, let's talk about some of the prerequisites. As if you want to attend this Spring Boot with Cloud Microservices session, basically, guys, you must know about Spring Core knowledge, basics, that is called Spring Core module knowledge is required, prerequisite. guys, you should know about Spring Core. And I would like to tell you that Spring Core is must. It's not optional. You must have the knowledge on Spring Core because, while working the Spring Boot, initially, if I want to explain something about Spring Boot, or if I want to talk about something on like the Spring Boot core application, the first application, then you must have the Spring Core knowledge, right? So anyhow, if you have already knowledge, then I will brush up on the Spring Core annotations, right? So they are going to be used in our Spring Boot and overall in the Spring Boot and microservices. So Spring Core knowledge is mandatory, that is must. And yeah, basics of SQL, that is common for all. Basics of SQL, not very deeper, but basics of SQL, that is also must. And if you have something on Hibernate, so that you can just find like how entities can be created and how we can map with the database tables. So basics of Hibernate are the prerequisites. Anyhow, I'm just going to give this. I just want to make it as optional, but really, if you have, then it's going to be well and good. Okay, these are all what really is required for you to attend this session, guys. Prerequisites are like this. So basically, Spring Core and basic knowledge of SQL is must, means database idea is very, very important. Basic queries only, but if you have the basics of how those queries we can write, that's well and good. And remaining part I will take care, you don't worry. And coming to this session, as you know, this is our Spring Boot with microservices. And coming to duration, with including the real-time scenarios, and we will take up some project, a mini project, I can say. It's not a separate one, but a mini project as part of the course that you are going to see how I'm going to give you that. And so based on all these things, it will be around 3 months. We have a daily session as an online session only, and this is going to be from 8 to 9. And we have session almost for every day from Monday to Saturday, and sometimes if demands, then I will also take up the session on Sunday. Okay, but we have weekday session, and it will be for 1 hour every day, and the examples will be shared. I will share one Git URL for all the applications what we are creating, and all the applications will be shared through Git URL. I'll share that with you. Applications will be shared, classroom applications will be shared, and also the class notes also will be shared. Okay, guys, this is coming to the material part. Okay, so apart from that, a separate materials I prepared for the Spring Boot part, and microservices part is under progress, but for Spring Boot, and by the time if it completes microservices, then I will also share a PDF of the Spring Boot and microservices separately, the 2 PDF books. So this is from mine. And about the other end, like, you just please contact admin to get the videos, the class videos, okay, will be shared, and that policies and all, you just cross check with admin. And coming to this session, guys, so definitely that we are going to look into very in-depth sessions of a Spring Boot with cloud and microservices will be explained to you. And initially, it's just to give you an idea of what really we are going to discuss in our session. I just want to give you guys some of the major concepts that I would like to list out here, which means that I'm not writing about the entire course content paper here, but anyhow, you can download it and you can find out. But the major points that I would like to write here, so that you will just come to know, okay, with the Spring Boot microservices session, so by the end of the session, this is what I'm going to get totally. I'll provide all industry-oriented training so that it doesn't make any difficult for you. For example, those who are job aspirant now, and if you want to attend interviews or and then when you are joined, suppose you don't get any difficulty in working with the Spring Boot and microservices. So the training will be provided in that way. So you're going to see all my experience, knowledge, I'll keep in front of you in this Spring Boot and microservices session. So basically, when it comes to Spring Boot, in the Spring Boot part, guys, I just wanted only the major topics. Sometimes maybe I forget one point, but at the time of explanation that we are going to cover that.
Um,
So
Shekhar,
let's move on.
Shekhar,
Yeah.
Shekhar, what I'm saying, when you start the applications, okay, real applications, so we just like it's a request kind of actually. So what about scenarios you have gone through when you are developing project in your career? That type of scenario, please, we should bring into this actually.
Yeah. When we are creating RESTful web services using Spring with Spring Boot, Data JPA, and Spring Cache. Okay. So
Okay.
there I will teach about all the some of the scenarios with how you write the endpoints and how the database tables you need to design, how the entity classes you need to design. All these things will be explained to you. Okay, don't worry about that.
Yeah, and
Initially,
mainly please focus on the coding rather than on the
yeah,
theoretical.
that's what. Yeah. Theoretically, I will do less. Practically, I'll do more. Okay,
Yeah. Thank you so much.
good, definitely. So, and the other thing is initially, immediately in the first two sessions or in the first week of sessions only, don't expect a different kind of applications. Reason because initially base should be very strong, and I should focus on that everybody should reach out. So that's the
Yes.
reason why. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
But
we
one,
initially we can focus on more theoretical.
yeah, initially not more theoretical, even that also be practical, but only just to know about why Spring Boot and what new things that we need to get into Spring Boot. Those things will be theoretical.
Okay. Thank you so much.
That's it. Yeah. Hi, Rajkumar, are you trying to ask something?
Yeah, I just asked you now, right?
Yeah, Rajkumar, I'm asking.
I just asked you right now.
Okay.
I think there is a noise. I think
Yeah. Yeah, okay, guys. Okay, no issue, guys. So, guys, let's look into this part. Let me tell you. Yeah, initially we are going to focus on why Spring Boot, and today only I'm just going to talk about something about why Spring Boot, guys. I'll just talk about why Spring Boot slowly in the today's session. And next after this, we are also going to look at into what say what advantages or features that you are going to get. I'm not going to write every point here. I'm very sorry to say that it's not a content paper I'm writing, but I just want to tell you about some of the important things. Okay. So when I'm talking about why Spring Boot, automatically will come to know about what are the features that we are going to get in Spring Boot. So then I would like to focus on Spring Boot runners, where we are going to look at into command line runners, application runners, and what is the use of them and where we use in the applications of real time. So this is totally going to be a real time based training. So you are going to feel very comfortable and you feel that, okay, this is the way how I'm going to do, and this is the way I need to work. And this is the way I need to write the code. Okay, so you are going to feel, including I'll tell you about how do you read the comments, what type of comments is good, what type of comments is bad, everything. So that kind of things will be provided to you. Next,
Shekhar, sorry, one question. Are we covering with Maven and Gradle?
yes, sure. Both Maven and Gradle, yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So I would like to tell all of you that without using any build tool like a Maven or Gradle, we cannot able to develop Spring Boot application. And I will tell you the prerequisites for creating Spring Boot project. So minimum Java version 8 required. I hope you people know about some of the new features that were into Java 8. So that is also a prerequisite. You should just, meanwhile, you can go through because it will take for us 2-3 days time for coding part. So meanwhile, you can just go through how you can write lambda expressions. So how can you use streams, on how can you use for each method in iterable, that is like a list or a set, whatever. So that Java 8 kind of features uh, are also required, because nowadays we write the code with that, and in Spring Boot we should define the code like that only. It supports Java 8. So minimum version of Java required for Spring Boot is Java 8. So Spring Boot runners is what, guys, next one we are going to look into. Just I'm focusing on what we are going to really discuss, and Spring Core module we are going to look at with the Spring Boot runners. So then we are going to look at Spring Boot Core. A lot of things I'm going to tell, but after this, see, next we are going to look at into Spring Boot with JDBC. Right, next I will cover about Spring Boot with JPA, and JPA provider is Hibernate. And at that time, I will cover about what basically JPA specification and Hibernate as its implementation. And how do you code without Spring Boot if you are creating data access layer using Spring ORM, right? You know the model like Spring ORM with JPA or with Hibernate. So with a Spring Boot, how you can differentiate the Spring ORM JPA with the Spring Boot JPA. Then here I'm going to introduce, guys. I told only the major topics names I'm writing so that you will get an idea. Next, I'll introduce about Spring Boot data JPA. And then next, I'll also talk about Spring Boot data MongoDB. Okay, guys, these are all DAO part, data access part, JDBC, JPA, data JPA with NoSQL database, MongoDB. I'll give you. If you have already MongoDB knowledge, that is well and good. If in case not, then I'll provide you some links to refer, as well as I will also share some MongoDB knowledge in 1-2 sessions, like how it's going to be, what's a SQL, what's a NoSQL, so, and how the NoSQL data is going to be, and I will show you how you install MongoDB and how do you work with that. Okay, all those things will be as part of this particular session, Spring Boot data MongoDB. And after that, then we'll enter into the important part, that is MVC. Here we are going to look at into Spring Boot or Spring MVC with a Spring Boot. That's called Spring Boot MVC. Here a lot of things will be discussed related to MVC part, about why this MVC architecture is provided, what is MVC2, and how in Spring the flow, and what is the purpose of different components in Spring MVC applications. A lot of things will be explained to you at the time when we are discussing about Spring MVC. First, I'll talk about the MVC part, then I'll talk without a Spring Boot how you can develop the application, and with Spring Boot how you can develop the application, and how it is, you know, the improving the productivity of the developers. So this is where we are going to look into in Spring MVC with Spring Boot. And we discuss about, here I'm only writing the word like Spring MVC with Spring Boot, guys, but internally we'll discuss about interceptors, we discuss about server side validators, creating custom validators, adding internationalization support, that is called I18N. So I cannot write all those things here. If I start writing, then I need to write a pages of the content here. So basically, I just want to tell you that everything is going to be covered. So just I write the main heading like Spring MVC Spring Boot, which talks a lot of things here. Okay, this one simple heading is going to talk a lot of things, guys. And now the next we are going to look into, guys, after that, I will just explain about how you can use Spring Security with the Spring Boot. First, I'll explain Spring Security with the Spring Boot. And once you got it, then I will introduce the other important concept, that is Spring REST with Spring Boot. It takes here we are going to spend more time. We are creating service providers, service consumer, asynchronous communications.
Sekhar, will we teach JWT?
Yeah, wait. Security part will come next. Okay. So Spring REST with Spring Boot, that is next. First, we are going to start with here. We are going to look at into the how we can define the REST endpoints. What is the use of REST web services? How can you differentiate services and web services? And how you can create the REST web services in Spring, and not only service providers, even how you can consume the services of the other providers. We take up some different examples, like we consume the Facebook services, or we consume the Twitter services. Okay, I'll tell you how we can able to consume them. Okay, so those things will be discussed as part of the Spring REST with Spring Boot. After that, then we'll talk about Spring REST with this is called security. This is Spring REST security with OAuth tokens and Spring REST security with JWT. Both are different. So the way how they provide security and the way how they generate it, they are going to be different. That is JSON Web Token. Now, this is what both the tokens are important, guys. You should know about how Spring REST security with OAuth tokens work and Spring REST security with JWT tokens work. JWT stands for JSON Web Token, guys. And nowadays, most of the REST endpoints are secured with JWT. So this is the next point that we are going to look at, Spring REST security with JWT. Once you got a thorough knowledge of these things, that's the reason why I kept the 3 months duration time. So in that, I will also take some sessions on Sunday in the middle, like a 2 to 3 hours of session, if possible, more than that also. So it should be somewhat flexible on Sunday timing, but the remaining days, it's the same timing. So once you got this knowledge, guys, then I will introduce you Spring Data Redis Cache with Spring Boot. So this we are going to see how Redis server can be used as a cache with that. Okay, so if I talk about Spring security here, it's meaning it's only take a lot of time. Here we are going to look at into page level security, method level security, and SSL security. I think SSL stands for secured socket layer, guys. That is what I can say, that it's going to be HTTPS communication, right? Yes, HTTPS communication, guys. So that is called secured socket layer, SSL we call. Guys, try to get my point. Guys, everyone, next. Yes, guys, next one. And one more thing, guys, meanwhile, just observe here, I am just putting some link in chat. Please click on this link and join our Telegram group. Please click on the link and join our Telegram group so that you will get all the notifications about our session and everything, guys. So I just kept a link in the chat window. Please click on that and join our Telegram. Yeah, guys, basically, once you got the knowledge, guys, about Spring Data Redis cache with Spring Boot, then we are going to look at into the concept called each and every point I'm going to cover, guys. Whatever I'm listing on today, at the end of the sessions, you can just see at the end of the Spring Boot whether all these topics are covered or not. That's the reason why I'm strongly telling all these points to you. Every point will be covered. So in this Spring, we are going to see Spring Boot with multiple data sources. Multiple data sources in the sense connecting single application with many databases. Like one application can able to connect with 2-3 different databases, and we can have the transactions, like global transactions we call them. So that global transactions we will look at by connecting with the multiple databases. And there is a simple concept that is called Spring Boot profiles and actuators. So basically, whatever I have written here, I don't want to write many things, but these are all the major topics. But internally, each and everyone is going to have many things inside. But these are all the major topics. First, we need to discuss as part of our Spring Boot. So if I want to explain all these things perfectly at the same time, you also need to do some homework. Nothing but you also need to prepare. You also need to practice the concepts so that you can catch up for the next session when I'm going to provide. And before I start this, suppose tomorrow if I'm going to teach something, today at the end of the session I'll tell you this is what the concept we are going to look at into tomorrow, so that you can just go through different resources, and you can just have an idea, so that when I'm explaining you'll get more idea on that. Really.
Will you teach Apache Kafka?
Yeah. Wait. Okay, so that I'll teach at that microservice to microservice with Kafka. Okay, so this is basically these are all the things that we are going to look at into, guys, into Spring Boot session. Basically, next we will look at into microservices part. Yeah, so that this session will help you about what you are going to learn exactly. Okay, I'm just providing all the concepts names here. You can just check even after the sessions, all these are covered or not. Even if you can also ask me or something, if you can remind me, like this is what you told, but it's not yet covered, so that we'll plan for that session as well, like that. So when coming to microservices, basically first we will look at into a simple concept that is called monolithic versus microservices. What are the monolithic applications and what are the microservices, guys? Basically, this is what we are going to look at into. Yeah, guys. Monolithic versus microservices, that is what the first, guys, we are going to look at into. What are monolithic applications? Monolithic in the sense, just to give, I want to give an idea that, your entire application code base is just prepared like a single var file or a single jar file and deployed onto a server. They are called monolithic applications. But we will see how we can vertically split, not horizontal splitting. I'll tell you what is horizontal and what is vertical. We want to scale the services vertically, and that's with microservices. And of course, a lot of things we are going to see, and I'll also talk about what are the microservices patterns. They are also called microservices design patterns. So I'll talk about microservices patterns, and I just want to tell you about all. And we take up here a mini project. I like to tell you, we start with a mini project. And in this mini project only, we will discuss with all the microservices. That's what you are going to find. Guys, I'll take up a mini project, and this mini project only, I will explain throughout the microservices by adding all the microservices components. And we are going to look at into microservices version 2. There is a little bit difference between version 1 components and version 2 components. So basically, I'm going to cover microservices version 2, which is what we really need now in industry. We'll start up a mini project on microservices. We are going to see what kind of project that we are going to look into. We'll discuss a simulation of a banking application. Sure, I'm going to tell you that. Front end your choice. For the mini project, you can use Angular if you know, or React. UI application can be any, but the backend application we are going to create in microservices. Right, guys? Okay. So I'll put all my experience. I have multiple years of experience on working with this boot and microservices. I'll keep all my experience, and I just want to see here. Even I want to learn something from you. Even if something, if I don't know, if you ask some question to me, if I don't know, then I will just definitely refer and I'll tell you the answer in the next session. I want to learn something from you. At the same time, I just want to put my knowledge also. I just want to, I like sharing the knowledge. So definitely, whatever I can, it's possible with me. I'm pretty sure that I just want to share all those things with you. So let's start with a mini project on microservices. Here we are now going to look at into the Spring Cloud components. We want to make them as cloud native microservices using Spring Cloud. So here we are going to discuss about Spring Cloud Load Balancer. Guys, we are going to look at into Spring Cloud Load Balancer, how client-server load balancing works. Earlier we used Ribbon. If anybody have an idea on microservices, in version 1 of microservices, we got a component called Ribbon. But now in version 2 microservices, it's replaced with Spring Cloud Load Balancer. So we are going to look at into Spring Cloud Config Server. This is a global configuration. By keeping the configuration properties into some external repositories, like I can tell you something that is a Git repository or a GitLab repository, whatever it is. But basically, that is the next thing that I'm going to tell you guys. Okay, it's a very important session. I feel that this session definitely will change you. I strongly believe it. So when attending the sessions, guys, everyone, be alert and try to note down some runtime points when the sessions are going on from tomorrow. That really helps you a lot. So once you got a Spring Cloud Config Server, as I said, I'm not writing into internally again all those things, only the major points I'm writing. So Spring Cloud Config Server, then we look at into the something called the Spring Cloud. There is some Netflix component we use that is called Eureka, that is a service discovery server. So Spring Cloud Eureka. Guys, I'll tell you about Spring Cloud. If you know about all these things earlier, if you have any, you learned about, or if you know about something, then you can. Spring Cloud Fen. This is called Fen clients. Guys, next. And we are going to look at into the next concept called Spring Cloud Gateway. Earlier we used ZWL, ZWL. Guys, that is earlier. And now we just use Spring Cloud Gateway as a gateway to the microservices. I'll tell you over that. And then, yeah, I just want to tell you all the cloud components here. Then we are going to look at into Spring Cloud Resilience for J. Earlier we have Histrix. Maybe if anybody have an idea on, or if you know about that component. So, but now we got Resilience for J. And for logging, we have Spring Cloud Console. And yeah, we will look at into Spring Cloud Tracing. That is called logs tracing. And for that, we use Sleuth and Zipkin. Sleuth and Zipkin servers. We are going to look into them. Then we use Apache Kafka for streaming, processing the messages between the microservices. Right. Next, we are going to look at about after all these cloud components, and some components I'm not writing here, maybe some of them are written here, but internally there are so many things that we are going to look at into. So once you got all these things, then we will discuss about how can you Dockerize these components and how can you run these Docker containers on deployment on AWS and Azure. If that all depends on the time. On AWS, I'm sure I'm going to tell you. On Azure also means it depends. Okay, so I mean, at that time we'll decide either AWS or Azure or both. That we'll discuss next on the cloud. Okay, so these Docker images we are going to run as Docker containers on either AWS or on Azure. So guys, basically, just I have written, as I said already, these are all the major concepts that you are going to learn in my session of Spring Boot and microservices, which are all required for nowadays when you want to work with a Spring Boot microservices project in the real time. Just these are all the major topics names, but internally there are so many minor things, and we are going to look at all those things. Okay, so into our session, that is Spring Boot microservices session, guys. Anybody have any query or any topic that you want me to include?
Tools. What tools you will gonna teach?
Yeah, so Maven, Log4j, I will tell you something about. See, we have a separate session for RTP, real-time project oriented tribe. That's we'll cover many tools, but here basic tools I'll cover definitely, because without that we can't work. Maven and Gradle both I'll cover, and like next some part of JUnit I'll explain, like how you can test the REST endpoints, and the client tools like Postman, Swagger, those things I'll cover. That is basic thing, but I'm talking about unit testing. How you can do with JUnit 5 and Marketo for unit testing your REST endpoints. So that is going to be, and we are going to add commonly log statements using log4j, log4j2 version 2 by creating log4j2.xml. And apart from that, when you come to the tools, yeah, that's these are the things. Separately, we have these sessions for tools and for the real-time project. Here we're creating mini project, but there is a live major project discussion is a separate session. So where you can find some more tools like Jetcoco, many tools like Jenkins, even you can find Zira, you can find everything. Okay. So as whatever the tools which recommended and which are required for us in development of our applications, anyhow I'm covering Docker here. So these are all definitely going to be. So guys, these are all what I'm trying to tell you about from my end. And guys, any queries from your end?
Shekhar, what I'm saying before starting to Spring Boot, please explain a little bit about Spring Core. Like
Yeah. That's what I said. No, I am initially for the first around, from tomorrow's session, just tomorrow I'll provide you about why Spring Boot. That is because you are all attending for Spring Boot. So basically you should know about why should I go for that. So that initial 1-2 sessions I will look at and I'll explain about why Spring Boot. And after that, Then first I'm going to cover about all the annotation based Spring core knowledge. What are stereotype annotations, like what are auto-warring annotations, and how do you write the Java configuration classes, bean configurations. Okay, so these things will be first whatever the prerequisite annotation based knowledge. Today we don't write any XML based configurations, but all annotation based, right? So all those things will be covered first. So initially 2 to 3 sessions or 3 to 4 sessions, we focus on knowing about the Spring core annotations, which are very much important for writing all applications. So that's for sure. Yeah, Ganesh, are you trying to say something? I couldn't hear you correctly.
Which ID you are going to use?
STS I'm going to use. If you want to use IntelliJ. Yeah.
Batch also, Spring Boot batch also you will teach, no?
That is at the end. Okay. Spring batch concept. I'll definitely give an idea after Apache Kafka. I'll definitely give out completely Spring batch, may not be, or maybe that all depends on our 3 months duration time. It sometimes may extend 10 days, but still I'll try to cover. Okay. I'll consider that definitely.
And please add one more thing is Spring Boot email no notification.
That comes under initially with the Spring MVC only. So I said already I'm not writing about internal things, right?
Okay.
Yeah, sending an email, sending a message to mobile, or generating OTPs. These are all simple things. We can do that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
And sir, will you cover on the Kubernetes and containerization?
Kubernetes I'm not going to cover because that's we have a separate session actually. Kubernetes, Docker, and Kubernetes. Here I'm going to just tell about how we can make each microservice as a one Docker image, and just we push them to the Docker hub and we pull and we run it as a container into AWS cloud. That's what we are going to see. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, small doubt. Circuit
Yes.
breaker belongs to Spring Boot Cloud Resilience Force, right?
Sorry, I couldn't hear correctly.
Actually, circuit breaker is a concept. Is
That is, yeah, that is resilience for J.
Yeah. Okay.
Resilience for J I have given. That is a circuit breaker pattern.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Hope you guys got about what I am trying to tell you in this entire session. Okay, I'm just going to deliver each and everything whatever I just gave here, and not only these, many things internally they have. Just focus on the sessions. Just what you need to do is do the work and attend the sessions very regularly, and just keep trust on me. I'm sure that I will definitely make a master of the Spring Boot and microservices without any doubt. Okay, guys, think you got about something about what we are going to start from tomorrow about the Spring Boot. Basically, why we need to go for Spring Boot is the first session that we are going to look at into. I will talk about XML based configurations, then some annotation based, that's called mixed configurations. We call some annotations can be used to reduce the XML based configurations and Java based configurations. When we have the different types of configurations, then why really we have entered into Spring Boot. Okay, I'll give you 3-4 important reasons like which makes us to move from Spring to Spring Boot to develop the real-time applications. So in a very easily and a comfort manner that you are going to learn, that you are going to understand first of all about why really we are going for Spring Boot. That's for sure. I'm going to tell you that. Hope guys, you people have got my point. And we will start our actual sessions from tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with the Spring Boot. Why Spring Boot is our first point tomorrow we are going to focus on. And I'll tell you in that what are the features, the advantages are the features that you are going to get with working with.
Sekhar, will you provide soft copy notes?
Yeah, that's what I said. I'll just share through our Ashok IT website, or even through Ashok IT website. Otherwise, as Google Classroom, they can share any one of the two.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Sir, you are saying that notes will be provided. So that notes contain all the detailing of the what is the
Whatever see in the class when I'm explaining every day, I'm going to type many things here, many points in this
Yes.
paint.
Hmm.
So this will be shared as this.
So we don't need to write the notes.
No, no, not of writing any notes. Yes, no. Any runtime points, something that you wish to write, you can write. Because some points I will explain, maybe 1 2 points I may not write. Okay, so many points I'll use to write, but some points may not be. So if you are also just writing like a runtime something in a shortcut manner, so later it makes it easy for you to
That
read.
will be provided at the end of the class or at one time.
Same day at the same day. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you, sir.
on the same day. Yeah, yeah, guys. Okay. Any other related queries, guys? Sorry. Yeah, I think Nagaraj, you're trying to say something, but I couldn't get your voice.
Yeah, it is completely morning session, right?
Yeah, it's only morning session. Yeah, time will be same.
Yeah.
Timing will be same.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, guys. Hope you are going to definitely enjoy my sessions from tomorrow. So that's it for today, guys. Have a nice day. We'll meet up tomorrow to start with why Spring Boot. And for any other related queries, you please ask, contact our admin.